Hello, folks. Welcome to the Mindset Artistry Podcast. I'm your host, David DiPaolo. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the mindset movement. Today, we are going to talk about past goals equal to today's fuel. Look, usually I don't like to live in the past. I don't recommend people living in the past. It's just not my thing. It's not a good practice to have in your life. But I'm going to give you two examples today of why things from the past are important, how they can help you, and why you should relive them sometime to give you fuel today. So I'm going to tell you a little story, okay? There's a park by my house, not too far. It's in walking distance from my house there. I go there often. I every morning I do a weighted vest walk, okay? And sometimes I go to that park, sometimes I don't. But every weekend on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, I take my two dogs there and I take them there for a longer walk than usual. I'm wearing my weighted vest. I'm killing two birds at one stone. I'm getting a great workout in. They're getting their exercise. They're out. They're happy. So this is great. But when I go there on the weekends, it's very, very early in the morning. It's between 4 and 5 a.m. When I get there, there's no one else there. So it's a great time for me to go there and either listen to something on my, a podcast or an inspirational video or something like that on my phone, or sometimes I just don't have anything going on and I just think and I just get into my head a little bit and have that time. So anyway, like that's one of my favorite parts of the week when I can go there on the weekend, be totally unbothered, be there with my dogs and spend that time making them happy, making me happy. It's a great thing. I love doing it. But when I was there this last week, I thought about something and it was something that I kind of forgot, I guess. And it was something that it brought me back, and when it did, a light bulb went off in my head, and I want to talk about that today in this podcast. So that park in particular, like I said, it's in walking distance from my house, right? I go there often, but I used to go there before even moving into this neighborhood. It's an awesome park. It's a nice little trail. You can go there and do whatever you want. You could run, you could walk, you can take your dogs there, you can take your kid there. It has other stuff there too, like a basketball court, a hockey rink, a playground. There's a big football field there. There's a baseball field there. There's always stuff going on there. Everyone's always really nice when you're over there. So I used to go there all of the time before even moving into this neighborhood. Now, I distinctly remember going to that park right before we made settlement on our house. Now, when my wife and I made settlement on the house that we live in now, the one that we moved into, there was a little bit of complications between the closing of our other house and to this house. And it was a very stressful time. We actually were homeless for a week. We had to move into a hotel and live there until we were able to close on the new house that we were moving into. It was a rough week. There was a lot of things going on in my head. I was praying constantly to God, let this happen, let this go through, and all these things. And I remember doing it at that park. I went to that park just to clear my head. I was walking by myself and just, praying to God and going over all these different scenarios in my head and knowing that it was just a ridiculously stressful situation. And I just wanted to get through it. And I just wanted to, get past that. And I knew how happy I was going to be. I knew how great this was going to be for me and my wife to move into this house, move into this neighborhood. And it brought me back. It brought me back to how I felt that day. It brought me back to all the things that were going on in my head. It brought me back to all the emotions that I was feeling at that time. And for whatever reason, like it just came back to me at that time when I was walking there again. I was like, wow, man, I remember being here and being like so stressed out and so, just like whirlwinds of emotions of like that I really, really wanted to get this done. I really wanted this. And I knew it was going to be good for us and it was going to make me happy and all these other things. And that was the crazy thing, though. Here we are almost 6 years later, and I never thought about that again. Like sure enough, by the grace of God and other things, we did make settlement. Everything worked out great. We live here. We love it. It's awesome. And I never thought about it really again of like the feelings and emotions that I had going on walking through that park. And it made me think like how many times in our lives have we accomplished something or maybe hit a goal or done something that, we thought, possibly couldn't happen, or something that we knew was such a great accomplishment if it did happen, or something that we said to ourselves, like, I will be so happy when this happens. Like, this is going to be great. Like, this is going to change my life. Like, this is going to be great for me and my loved ones when this actually happens. And we, you've had these situations in your life. If not, you're not human. You've had these situations of something that you really, really, really wanted so bad, and that you told yourself that you would be so happy when you finally get it and you finally accomplish it. And then it comes and goes, right? And a lot of times, like, we don't appreciate it as much as we should. And it hit me like a ton of bricks when I was walking around that park and was like, wow, like all that was going through my head, and I got it and I did it, and it did make me happy, and it still brings happiness to my life. But I never thought about it again, right? And it made me think, like, this just goes back to having gratitude in your life. Like, you need to be grateful for things in your life, but you also need to be grateful for these tough situations that you went through, persevered, got through, and the things that you told yourself that was going to make you happy. You have to appreciate it more. So this is a time where I'm totally okay with you living in the past. I'm totally okay with you going back down memory lane and taking that piece of your life and reliving it, and taking that piece of something that happened to you and understanding, like, wow, I got through that. I accomplished that. I did that. I hit that goal. And you have to know that, and you have to appreciate it. And that will help you later on. Like, that will help you with other things that you're going through now. That will help you through other goals that you're trying to accomplish now. So that's why I say these past goals can be today's fuel, because sometimes you have to remember what you got through, what you persevered, what you accomplished, what goals you hit. And look, I'm all for, hey, you hit a goal, and it's on to whatever your next goal is, or whatever the bigger picture is, or whatever these other great things are that you're trying to accomplish. But you need to appreciate the things that you did accomplish already, the things that you got through, the things that you persevered. Because then when you see that, you see the strength that you had, you see the problem solving abilities that you had, you see these maybe intangibles that you don't really totally understand, and you don't realize that you actually do have. And I say this all the time, like, when you look at life, you're undefeated. Okay? You are undefeated. You got through it. You lived. You're still alive. You're doing good. So you're undefeated. So you can look at these little, like, things that you go through and say, oh, they're L's and they're losses and this and that. But that's not true. They're lessons, and you are undefeated because you are still here. You are still going. Okay? You got to look back at these things and say, oh, wow, like, I got through that. I did that. I did this hard thing. And it will help you later on in life. It should fuel you later on in life. And that could be other things too, right? Like, maybe not so much a goal that you accomplished, but maybe like a really, really hard thing that you got through in your life. Maybe a tragedy that you got through in life. You lost a loved one. You lost something else. Maybe, a bad situation that you were in, and you were able to overcome it. Maybe you had a bad addiction to something and you got through that and overcame it. Maybe, it's something else, like, really, really hard in your life that made you upset or depressed, and you thought you would never get out of it. And you did, right? So, like, you could look back at those things and you could say, wow, I did that. Like, that's who I am. Okay. Or you can look at it as maybe it is another goal, like a physical goal, a race that you did, a weight loss goal, a something else that you wanted to accomplish physically. You could look back at those and say, look, I did this before. Like, I could lose this 10 pounds. I could get back in shape. I can, go do this 5K. I could go do this Spartan race or whatever it is, or something else that you're trying to accomplish physically. You could look back at these other things and, like, I did that. Like, that's who I am. I can do this again. I know how strong I am because look what I accomplished and persevered in the past. David Goggins talks about this. He calls it the cookie jar, right? And it's such a cool concept. And there's, I mean, he's a different level. He's out there running these ultra races, 100 miles, 200 miles, all this other stuff. But when he's doing it, like he'll say, like, I'm going to like the depths of my mind that like people don't even think that they have. But he calls it the cookie jar. And when he's like having a tough time and wants to quit and wants to stop, he can go back and say, oh, I'm gonna grab this cookie from the cookie jar, which is something that I accomplished in the past, something that I got through in the past, because now I could take that and be like, that's who you are. You've done this before. What are you worried about now? You can do this. Okay. So this is just another great example of how you can apply this to your life when you can look back at things that were very hard, were very difficult, that maybe you prayed on, that you were hoping so bad for, and whatever else, and you told yourself you were going to be happy, and this is it, and I can't wait to do this, and all this other stuff. But then sometimes we just accomplish those things, and then we just forget about it, and we don't realize it and don't remember it. But you need to be grateful for it. You need to be grateful for it, and you actually need to really be grateful for how hard it was, not just for the goal or whatever it is that you got or that you accomplished. You should be very, very grateful for how tough it was to accomplish, and that not only did you do it, but you were able to do it. And you should appreciate that and be grateful for that as well, because look, nothing worth having is easy. And that's plain and simple, whether that's in your personal life, in your career, your business, whatever it is, anything worth having is going to be difficult to obtain. Anything worth having, you are going to have to put the right work in to get that done. And you need to appreciate that as well. Appreciate the grind. Appreciate the discipline that you had to have to do something. Appreciate the consistency that you had to have to do something. Appreciate the mindset that you had to have to get through something or to be able to accomplish that. Okay. This is a great way to fuel whatever it is you are trying to accomplish now, because you can look back at these certain situations, these certain things that you accomplished, and these certain things that you persevered and got through, and say, hey, look, I got through those things. I accomplished that. So I know deep down inside, I will be able to do this as well. I will find a way to get through this as well, because I already know what I'm capable of, because I've already did it in the past. It's a great way to look at things, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that story. It was a trip down memory lane for me. It reminds me a lot of things and what I need to be grateful for, and how I need to continue to use that as fuel. So that is it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the Mindset Movement. I will see you all next week.